Cape Cod Broadcasting weaves the listening environments of 99.9 WQRC, Ocean 104.7, WFCC Classical 107.5, Cape Country 104, and CapeCon.com's website experience to reflect the lifestyles of the people who live, work, and play on Cape Cod. We hope that you enjoy this podcast.
I'm Laura Reckford, and this is Sunday Journal. I'm here in the studio with Melinda Gallant, the director of a new production of Our Town that is being done in honor of the town of Sandwich's 375th anniversary this year. Melinda, welcome to the show.
Thank you, and I am so glad to be here.
Now, tell me how the idea to do this show came about and how you got involved.
Well, the Sandwich Town Hall has a stage, and it was rededicated and refurbished, I guess maybe about 3 years ago now. And everybody loves the Sandwich Town Hall stage and the auditorium that is on the second floor. So when the 375th came around, everybody was talking about, well, we need to do things in the town hall because it has, such meaning to the community. So long story short, I was very fortunate to be able to do several productions that were, shall I say, hey kids, let's put on a show, the Sandwich Town Hall radio show, which was strictly for local folks, and everybody loved it and enjoyed it, and we sold out. So after that, I thought to myself, gee, wouldn't it be fun to do a play? And Carol McManus, who is one of our actresses in the show, she came to me with a program from the 350th anniversary of Sandwich. And guess what they did? They did Our Town. And as I'm looking over it, I have 3 kids. All 3 of my kids were in it. Now, I have no clue because I do not remember them being in it. All I remember is, yeah, they did it, but I had nothing to do with it. My oldest son was an assistant stage manager, and the other, his sister and brother were also in the show as extras. So very surprised. And so after talking with Carol, I went to the 375th and I said, I got an idea. And they said, let's go for it. So we have.
And it's such a perfect idea. I didn't realize that they had done it for the 350th. It's such a perfect idea, sort of as an homage to the town.
Well, it is. And what's really interesting is somebody also told me, which is way before my time, is that it was also done at the 300th or shortly around there. I'm not sure. I don't know that is – I think the play was written around that time period. So I'm not exactly sure if that's correct. But what's interesting is the themes of this particular play are timeless.
Oh, definitely, and really about sort of the nature of living in a small town. Now, you've been involved in local theater all over the Cape. Tell me how you first got started in theater and what you've done around the Cape. And you've just said your kids were involved in theater when they were young. Were you involved at that time, too?
I was. I actually was part of Glasstown Players, which was in Sandwich, and was in Sandwich for many, many years. And then as all things do, it kind of went by the wayside. They didn't have a home. So consequently, it kind of went away after probably 20 years, I'm thinking. We moved to the Cape in 1980, and the first way I thought to get to know people for me was to get involved in theater, and that's what I did. I went to an audition for the Glasstown Players and got a leading role in a show. So it kind of was, downhill from there. I'm not quite sure.
You started as an actress and then you got involved in directing?
Yes. I've always been in theater all my life. I studied it in college and I did community theater obviously through high school and then through college and while my children were young, a little bit here and there. I've taught children's theater here on the Cape since we've lived here. My children were quite small, so I couldn't get away to do things like that. All 3 of my kids had interest in it at a time. They no longer do, but I have to laugh. I have a grandson in this particular production, so it's kind of fun.
Oh, that is fun. And so let's get to talking about this production for people who want to get tickets. Where and when? How do they get tickets?
Well, the show goes up on Friday, August 15th at 7 p.m., on Saturday, August 17th at 7 p.m., and then on Sunday at 4 p.m., August what is that? 17th, yes. And the tickets are all $15. There are no senior prices and there are no children's prices. If you can sit in a seat, you have to pay the $15. This is a fundraiser for both the Sandwich Town Hall Preservation Trust and for the 375th Committee. So what's exciting about it, you can get your tickets all up and down 6A. We were laughing that we didn't realize. So we start with Momo's. If you're coming in from the Hyannis area, you can pick up your tickets at Momo's or at Titcomb's. And then as you move down 6A, you can pick them up at Heart of Stone on 6A in Sandwich Village, Splash in Sandwich Village, and then Monday through Friday at the Sandwich Town Hall, which I believe is open from 8:30 to 4.
So there are various places to get tickets, and of course, as you explained at the beginning, the play is going to be in the beautiful newly restored auditorium at Town Hall.
I am telling you, it is worth the price of admission just to come and see that beautiful space. It is quite amazing.
Now, many people will have seen the show Our Town over the years and different productions. What are you bringing something in particular to it? What is your vision of the play for Sandwich's 375th anniversary?
Well, first of all, everybody said to me, oh my goodness, are you going to change all the references to Sandwich? Well, there was the thought of that. And I did contact Samuel French because that's the provider of the play. And they contacted the Thornton Wilder Trust, and Thornton Wilder Trust said no. They said this is a timeless play that should be done exactly as. And I truthfully, I agreed with them, but I was trying to appease those folks who wanted it really, to be about Sandwich and the 375th. So what we are doing is, first of all, I have a woman stage manager. The stage manager is traditionally a man. Janet Geist Moore is our stage manager. She is not only a lovely person, she is a fabulous actress. And in our discussions about the play and talking about all the different nuances of it, we have decided that really the stage manager is almost like God because he makes things happen. He changes the scenes. He makes people get married. He helps them. He takes them to their death. It's a very interesting role to play because you can't be too heavy-handed. You got to be a little bit folksy. And yet there's some stern words that she has to say in this play. The other thing is we have the play has no set. So do not come and think you're going to see an elaborate set of 1936 because it won't be there. We are using some chairs, 2 ladders, and a little bit of trellis with flowers on the trellis. And that's it. Everything else is pantomimed. And I want to tell you that the 2 women, Kathy Odie and Pat Farrell, who play the mothers, Mrs. Webb and Mrs. Gibbs, you cannot believe their pantomime skills. When they're making pancake batter, they're making pancake batter. When they're making their coffee, you can tell they're making coffee. They have really, really practiced it. It's kind of remarkable, actually.
I'm Laura Reckford, and this is Sunday Journal. I'm talking with Melinda Gallant about the new production of the play Our Town that is being done in honor of the town of Sandwich's 375th anniversary this year. This play is so powerful, and I've seen it in a number of times in a number of different productions. Quite a tearjerker. Do you find how do you deal with the poignant parts of the show?
Well, as you know, I am really a comedian in heart. But you know what makes people laugh is sometimes what doesn't make them cry. There's a fine line between the two. We have an actress, Hannah Carita is her name. She's young. She is phenomenal as Emily. And what I've found with working with her is she has she can pen up her emotions, pen them up, and then she just kind of releases them in little spurts, and it is so moving. And you're right, it is a tearjerker. And I told her the goal is I don't want one dry eye in the house. but again, the themes ring so true today. It does start out. The first act, there are 3 acts with 2 10-minute intermissions. We hope that everybody will understand the daily life is just about everybody's daily life. Yeah, they didn't have cars when this play was written. However, I think we can all see that mothers are busy and kids go off to school and there's issues in everybody's household and how you deal with them. And then the second act is all about marriage and 2 young people getting married. And then the last act is about death and how we all treat death. And, it was written for New Englanders, I swear to God, because it's so New England-ish, that kind of staid calmness that the actors must carry in their characters. And it's a tribute. It's a tribute to New England. And what's really amazing is some of the names, Gibbs and Kroll, are all names that are in Sandwich. So they're old New England names as well.
Well, it is. It's such a. It's as I said before. It's sort of an homage to small town life. Now, how did you go about the casting? You've mentioned some of the people involved with it, and you know so many people in the theater world. Did you pull in people you knew for this?
I had open casting call. I really believe that it's important. This is community theater. No, we're not going to off-Broadway. Nobody's even going to tell anybody we're going off-Broadway. And I think sometimes in community theater, especially on Cape Cod where we have such fine community theater, I mean, it's wonderful, that we kind of start to believe our own publicity a little bit and forget that, you know what, it's okay to have somebody who's never been on stage before. We actually have an age range between the age of 11 and the age of 81.
Wow.
And the one who is 81 has never been on stage before. He is a lovely gentleman. He is working very hard. He actually knew his lines first, which we all gave him a round of applause, and he blushed. He's just a delight. And then we have, seasoned actors, Carol McManus, Kathy Odie, Pat Farrell, all of them, Jason Santos. And the 2 teenagers, Dan Souza and Hannah Carita, they are delightful and both have done a lot of theater, both in the community theater and then at their respective schools.
And in this show, their relationship really kind of holds the whole show together. Did you have to work with them specifically on that?
Well, it was. And in the second act, and if you all come, you'll get to see it because we had to practice it. At the end of the wedding, they have to kiss. And it became the funniest thing because it's something you have to get over. Let's just do it, guys, and get it over with is what I said to them. And they got to giggling so much. And then, of course, everybody else starts to giggle. So we had to pull it back a little bit. But they have a great chemistry together, and they have since day one. And it's really a sign of their community professionalism in theater.
Definitely, and I know Hannah in particular, I've seen her in a number of productions. Now, that final scene in the cemetery, such an iconic scene for this play. Did you do, what were your thoughts putting that together?
Well, I think one of the things, again, is that I didn't want it wasn't to be over the top. It wasn't to be over the top at all. There's bitterness in the cemetery. There's bitterness from some of the folks who are dead. The best part about the cemetery scene is, though, we have extra dead people that are community members who wanted to just be a dead person.
Well, that's what I was wondering, is whether you pulled in some additional people for that.
Yes. We have a selectman, Frank Benorfi. We have the guys who own Cafe Chew, Bob King and Tobin Wirt. We have people reprising their dead role from 25 years ago. Mary Ellen Anderson. She was a dead person then. She was quite happy to be a dead person again. And she wants me to note that she has not aged at all. So we've got all these fun, some 375th committee members are in it as well. And then, of course, we have actors that are in it.
So people will recognize people they know from the community.
Yes, they will.
But it's also, again, a celebration of life where people in other towns around the Cape will certainly want to come see this production because it doesn't come around that often.
Well, no. And whenever you say our town, everybody goes, oh, yeah. Wait a minute. Did I read that when I was a junior in high school? Oh, no, I read the Cliff Notes. Or, oh, I saw it. My mother made me go see it. What we're finding out is people are really rediscovering, in this particular instance, distance because it's so moving. And again, it strikes a chord with everybody because it's about our lives and about what we don't recognize as we are living.
And just going through again the dates and the times of this production and how much tickets cost and so forth.
Oh, it is August 15th, 16th, and 17th. And on the 15th and 16th, it starts at 7 p.m. 7 p.m. That's very important to remember. And we're going to start promptly at 7. And on the 17th, which is Sunday, it'll start at 4 p.m. promptly. And the tickets are $15. We do have somewhat limited seating. So I would advise people, if they want to come see this, they need to get tickets in advance. We may have some at the door, and we certainly will let people know through social media and other means that we do. But at this point in time, they're going kind of briskly. So we're keeping our fingers crossed that we don't have any available.
And what about parking? Because I always wonder that in Sandwich, it's a little challenging.
Well, that is true. There certainly is parking at the Glass Museum in the evening, Saturday and Sunday. And I believe the Glass Museum closes at 4 o'clock, so on Sunday. There's also on-street parking. Grove Street is certainly an area. On Main Street itself, there is parking as well.
So again, 3 productions of the show on the weekend of August 15th. I've been talking to Melinda Gallant, who is directing the new production of Our Town that is being done in honor of the town of Sandwich's 375th anniversary this year. Unfortunately, we're out of time. Melinda, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for allowing me to be here.
I'm Laura Reckford, and this is Sunday Journal.
Cape Cod Broadcasting weaves the listening environments of 99.9 WQRC, Ocean 104.7, WFCC Classical 107.5, Cape Country 104, and CapeCon.com's website experience to reflect the lifestyles of the people who live, work, and play on Cape Cod. We hope that you enjoy this podcast.